Hello and welcome to Experiencing Love. I'm your host, Philip Jocks, and I'm so glad that you're here. Right off the bat, I want to say that I'm feeling a little bit off. I tried to hold it off. I tried to get better throughout the day, and it's just not working out for me. I have a bit of a headache right now. I think I'm coming down with some cold or something like that. This headache I have is just not letting up, and I was hoping that it would go away by the time I would record, so I put off recording for a long time. And now it's reaching nighttime and I want to go to bed. And I know that I have to record and post before doing that. So I know sleep will help me a lot, and I'm going to enjoy that sleep for what it's worth. And I just have to get through this little hiccup. I was thinking about this willpower, this discipline that I'm building in recording. I was wondering why. Why do I feel the need to record? And I was really happy that the answer I gave myself was discipline. The answer that popped into my mind was discipline. Because here I was thinking, I'm not disciplined. There have been moments in my life that I've been disciplined, yet it's not something that's super consistent in my life. It's not something I see all the time. And admittedly, it's probably because I'm hard on myself. And I get the feeling that there's a lot of people out there that do the same. There's a lot of people out there that are more disciplined than they realized, but they really talk down to themselves, and they don't give themselves the chance to see it, to reinforce it, and to do it more often. I think that just points to a whole larger commonality for a lot of people, which is that we are so hard on ourselves. We have to be a certain way. We have to look a certain way, act a certain way. We have to achieve a certain level of results. And when we don't meet those expectations, we are our greatest enemies. We bully ourselves. We say things to ourselves that are meaner than anything anyone out there can say to us. When we think that someone triggers us or someone bothers us, it's not because they said something that you've never heard or said about yourself. It's more so you get bothered because they've said something you have said to yourself before. You've probably had the thought about some area that you either fell through or you didn't meet expectations. You created some story, and the pain comes from when someone else confirms that. It doesn't matter what, say, someone's weight is. If they've had the thought that I'm fat and someone else tells them you're fat, whether or not it's true, that person's going to feel it. If you go to someone who you think is overweight, but they don't, it doesn't matter how many times you say it, you tell them, they won't be fazed. They won't believe you, because in their mind, in their body, they know what they are. They know who they are. People get upset when that identity, especially the worst parts of our identity, get confirmed, or our best parts get denied. I haven't always been the nicest. Part of my focus on experiencing love, this show, well, it's to remind myself to experience love more often. I often believe that the way someone treats other people is the way they treat themselves. I look at it that way because I may never know what's going on in someone's head, but if they're hard on another person, if they are a bully to another person, if they disrespect another person, or even if they fake love, fake honesty, fake authenticity and compassion, they're doing all of those same things within themselves. They do all the same things in their own mind. When they're alone in a quiet place, they are bullying themselves. They are being disrespectful to themselves. When I see this type of behavior out in the world, when I see someone who's always rude or always frustrating or whatever word you want to put in there, I'm actually able to give them a lot of compassion, because I know that however hard they might be on the world, they are the same, if not more, difficult on themselves. Now, that's not to give them permission to just behave however they want. It's more just a method that I use so that I don't villainize another person. I don't want to give up on other people because I think they're hopeless or I think they can never change, because I truly believe anybody can change. There are steps to change, steps to changing yourself, steps to helping other people change. But the point is, I know that I was not the best to the people around me simply because I was pretty rough on myself. I really had to act a certain way. I had to perform at a certain level. And whenever I didn't meet those standards, well, I did take it out on myself. And it's this crazy back and forth because on one hand, I'm almost trying to punish myself for not meeting my standards. And this other part of me is trying to make myself feel better for either getting punished or not meeting those standards. And it just goes back and forth for, honestly, as long as I don't really take a look at it and notice. I'd say there were years in my life where I would go through this cycle day after day for months, if not years, because I just didn't notice. I didn't know I was doing these things. I just knew that some days I felt great. Some days I felt honestly awful. So rather than constantly punishing and criticizing myself and therefore other people in my life for not meeting expectations, for not meeting standards that I've set, well, I choose to give a little bit of love, a little bit of compassion, because it wasn't always my default, and it probably still isn't today. But the more I've done it, especially in the last year, the easier it is to tap into. I do believe it's becoming my default. In many regards, it actually already has, now that I think about it. There's so many situations that I surprise myself with how I approach the situation, how I react. I especially notice it when I'm talking to someone else about something that's going on in their life or my life, or maybe even a hypothetical, and I just see the stark difference in how we would approach that situation. I see that not always, but there are many times where I have the more understanding approach or the more compassionate approach, one where I'm not blaming and criticizing and making judgments, but instead offering other solutions, other possibilities, trying to take a different perspective so that I could stay away from feeling upset about something and more so trying to feel love for a person, for a group of people, whatever's happening, right? I'm really hard on myself about this show, about wondering what I'm doing, what I'm creating. My focus is truly about just showing up and doing it. Even if, honestly, some of the videos and some of the podcast episodes that I put out, I wouldn't even watch or listen to myself. That's when I know I've made work that isn't my best. I guess the point is not always to make work that is my best, but just to make work. And once I know how to make work and I regularly make work, then I can work on making that work my best. I've seen this graph once. I wish I could remember where, but it was this graph about quality versus quantity over time and how we go through stretches of making videos, making content, making a product. And at first, we're focusing on one of the two, quality or quantity. And I chose the quality route before. This time around, I'm choosing quantity. Just make videos. And you make the videos, make until you kind of become stagnant. Like you're not seeing much growth. And at that point, you draw back on the quantity and focus on quality. And that's where you learn new skills. You try out different methods. In the video making space, that might be using different captions, making different titles, using thumbnails, whatever it is. And you work on building up those skills and you reach a new level of quality to which you then practice a lot. And that's when you go back to quantity. It's a higher quality of work and you just have to get those repetitions in. You do that for a while until, again, the growth kind of stops and you stagnate a bit and it's time to learn a new skill and upgrade your quality. And I remember that graph a lot because, yes, you can try to focus on quality and quantity at the same time, but at a certain point, it does become too much. You will start to focus on one or the other. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually really healthy to go through a cycle of it. I'm in my quantity phase right now. I see that. I know it. I'm not going to kid myself because my question is never, how can I make this better? My question is always, how can I make sure to post? How can I record? When will I record? What will I talk about? Even though I have ideas on how to make this better, there are days like today where I'm feeling a little bit sick. I'm feeling a little bit tired. And well, my focus is not on quality. It's on quantity of just getting to that one video a day, just getting it out there. So I've talked a bunch and I am feeling a bit weakened. So I will call this a little bit earlier. I don't regret being here. I know that it's all going to make sense someday. And I hope that whatever you're working on, you can at least borrow that mindset, borrow that way of thinking. Know that whatever is going on, it's for a reason. You're going to reach a point in your life where you could look back at what's happening right now and get it. Just understand. I don't know when that will be for either of us, and all I could say is keep going. Just make one more thing. Post one more video, have one more call. Just don't give up. And be kind to yourself. Give yourself some love. Because the more love you give to yourself, just to fill yourself with love, the more you'll give that to the people around you. I promise. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, however long that may be. And I hope you sleep well tonight. Remember to always fill up with the love. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I love you.